how, again, you've even structured your caffeine intake. I'm microdosing.
If you go all out, I find that's the thing. I love Monster,
Yeah.
and I get sucked into having the can.
Yeah.
But you have it, you feel great, and then you just crash.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you can force yourself to sip it over an extended period of time, you're just on it, aren't you?
Well, that's true. That is very true. So when I diet, if I don't have my black coffee in the morning, I actually do that. I sip it, but I leave it in the fridge all day.
Okay, yeah.
That's sad, really, but...
I took a pre-workout yesterday to my kids' football game because I'm the coach, and it was a friendly.
Yeah.
And I said to the other coaches that I won't shout. It was 10-3, yeah.
See that? I know
Get
what
that
work, I know already.
Yeah. And I said I won't shout, but I cannot coach people and not shout at them.
Yeah.
It's directional. It's not ever negative with kids. You've got to be positive, right?
Criticism.
But the pre-workout, I don't think it helped me.
I did not.
Okay,
So
let's
I had
get
a
going.
coach. Sorry, just quickly. So I grew up. So my competitive side came from my. I'd say it came from obviously siblings and being rivals with them. But in primary school, my head teacher, he was the best head teacher you'll ever get as a primary school teacher. But he was very old school, and he was the most competitive guy you'd ever meet.
Yeah.
We had to be the best in every sport.
He was your PE teacher?
He was the head teacher.
Oh, right, okay.
But the school had to be excelling in any sport. Yes, curriculum-wise it was okay, but it was sport. He even used to pull me out of like maths, science, geography, take me down to the swim baths, all the team, to swim and do lengths all afternoon because we had ponds full, we had nationals coming up. Football, we used to have 6-a-side championships and whatnot. He'd pull us out of school to go and do football at the week. He was brilliant. He used to say to me, when we'd swim, he taught me how to swim, and if you went to the sides, he had a broom. He used to poke you into the middle of this pool.
I think you mentioned this before.
Gymnastics.
Proper old school.
He broke my toe because I couldn't, trying to get over the vault, we were flipping over the vault and I kept lagging my toe, and he pulled it that hard to straighten me up. He smashed it into the vault and broke my toe. He used to come up behind you when you're doing the splits, push your shoulders down to get you into it, and he'd be so...
It sounds bad now, but you know what? I think now kids, they're not finding their limits.
But that school now, I'm not going to name the school, but now they don't believe in competitiveness, so everyone's a winner. And I get it, it's about taking part and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I have to win in a competitive mindset, and that's what he instilled into me, and I respect that massively.
Is that my first question for you was?
Sorry, go on.
No, it's a nice transition because I always want to know how and why people got started. Like for me, I started bodybuilding when I was 14, 15 and lied about my age to get into the gym.
Yeah.
As you do, as you've probably got a similar story which we can hear. And it was everything for me at that time, probably because...
But why did you start that?
I think I started because I was lacking something maybe at that time somewhere else, which I wasn't aware of at that age. Yeah. I still didn't necessarily know what it was. I picked up the first weight, and just that feeling and seeing results, then I was hooked straight away. For me, it's if you've got a family, if you've got work, if you've got all these other stresses, it's the only place I can go where it's my time.
You're doing it for you.
Yeah.
Because that's what bodybuilding, although you've got a team around you sometimes, it's still quite a selfish sport. It's all about yourself, and it's all about putting the time in yourself. But for me, I started, obviously, I've just talked about my competitive side of this. I was always into sports growing up, every sport going I was doing. But when I turned 14, obviously, it was when like girls come on the scene, that kind of, that era, and I just became really self-conscious of the way I looked, and it just gone into secondary school, and I was never big. Looking back, I was never a big guy, but I was always quite chunky as a kid. Like my head teacher, I was telling you about, he used to call me Muscles, and I was just like a bit, well, it wasn't muscle, a big fat tubby thing, but I could move with it. But when I got into
must have seen
years,
it to say muscles, so maybe you had all good genetics.
Yeah, possibly.
Already
Yeah, exactly. Possibly. Yeah. I don't think he even remembered my name. I don't even know if I know my name. I was just awesome. I'll take that L then. But yeah, when I was 14, went into secondary school, and I was just lacking in confidence, and I started to really get this self-consciousness about me, and I thought, right, I need to get into to fix this. And my stepdad-ish at the time was Mr. Great Britain, Mr. England in the super heavies.
Your stepdad, yeah.
Okay. So he had a backstreet bodybuilding gym, very hardcore. He was to the point, you know what I mean, no messing about. So yeah, he took me into his gym, took me under his wing, and it was just, within a few weeks, body started to change, you're pushing yourself, that competitive mindset went into my training, and I just fell in love with it.
It's like an outlet for you,
more
confidence.
massively.
Do you think, I know this is like fast forwarding a bit, and a random question, it wasn't on my list, but do you think that bodybuilding increases confidence, but actually sometimes it can always decrease it as well, because 100%. You become so self-conscious, 100%. And you don't want to like take your top off on holiday because you don't think that you're in the best. I'm not saying one doesn't want to sometimes, because you don't, even though everyone else thinks you look great, you're very self-critical.
So this is a subject I could talk about for so long, because that is so true. If you don't channel it in the right way, it can be not a good thing. It can put you in a bad place. Even for instance with Ash, my videographer, when I met Ash, he trained, he ate what he wants and whatnot, he looked good, confident in his skin, everything like that. Took him under my wing, started training, teaching him obviously the fundamentals of his food, how he can push his body more in training, and he started to really, really change in the last 6 months. But then, because he had a week off his food, or he had something off his nutrition plan, he started to not be confident about himself, and he started to be really thinking he's lost weight. He's training in a hoodie and stuff now, he's in a vest normally, and I can see that happening so many times with people around you. When you're more conscious of it, it can not be a good thing.
So you've got to think about the impact of it while you're training, positive and negative. And I did it for self-confidence reasons. So I was feeling crappy and not so good. That's why I started it, and I channeled it into a positive, because although it's my job, it's a lifestyle, it's something I enjoy doing. It's not something I get up every day, God, I've got to eat 6 meals, I've got to train now. I actually enjoy that. So you've got to be careful with it, I think, definitely. It can make you more conscious of it, and that's why with Amy as well, my wife, just quickly, another one. When we moved to America, this is how I warned you, these chats can extend
it's going to go forever. You don't realise I
might have to do just a part B.
I can seriously chat. But no, we went away. 2017, she moved to America with me. She was working in law. She had to quit her job and she came work with me. So I took her under my wing. We started training together because I didn't know anyone in America. So we were training together. I did a diet for her, all that kind of stuff. And she was so blissfully unaware, again, confident in her own skin. She used to have a pizza and a tub of Pringles for all day. That was her calorie intake. When I taught her everything, she became so self-conscious, and I could see it. I'd moulded her by accident, didn't mean to. I thought I was doing a good thing. So now, I promised, and she promised me that when we move back, we forget about it. She's been amazing ever since. Last 3 years, got a very relaxed diet. She still trains, keeps herself healthy, but she doesn't bring that obsessiveness.
What do you think is the answer there, though? Do you think you have to constantly remind yourself, you're comparing yourself to your best self versus yourself to where you started?
It is, I know what you mean. It is difficult. It is very difficult. For me, the last few years I've become since I've had Alfie, since I got married and the family, there's more to it than the way I look. Like, don't get me wrong, it's my job, so I have to be conscious of it. But I stayed lean and on a prep diet for over 7 years, and I thought that was normal, because I felt good in myself, even though my energy levels weren't great, I was tired all the time, I had brain fog. But that just became like normalised to me because I had my abs and I was lean and I was doing front covers. But when Amy and people came into my life and I realised that wasn't the way forward, and I could eat stuff, I could put a bit of body fat on, I stopped having these brain fogs, I stopped being tired all the time, I got better pumps, getting stronger, putting more muscle tissue, and then I realised there's more to this, and you can actually have a good balance between
so they had a positive impact on you.
And it can benefit you as well, having that balance.
And then I think you get a new motivation. Like for me, my kids are 6 and 7 now, and they thought it was so cool that I was coming to sit down and talk with you. Nice. Obviously, I don't let them train and lift weights and things like that, but my little one, he's got a picture of Messi, because they want to be footballers, and above it, on his bed, he did this himself with no one saying anything to him. He wrote 10 kick-ups and 10 push-ups, day 1. Brilliant. 10 leg raises and 10 keepy-uppies, day 2, and he put Messi underneath. And my wife asked him this morning, like, why did you do that? Because we didn't really pay attention to it. He goes, well, if I do this and I do this, I become this. And we were like, you basically like wrote your own goals out, put your vision board there,
how old is he?
He's 6, and you're manifesting what you want to become.
That's phenomenal.
By your daily actions. But we didn't say, so I think sometimes you act a certain way and the kids just
influenced by it.
100%.
Well, we've just been talking about off camera how structured you are in your life and your training and your food, everything like that. That he's obviously seeing that, and he's already
just from observation. So you have to, as a parent, which is different, act the way you want them to develop, and be aware when you're acting in a way which is not in line with your goals and standards, because they will pick
Alfie's
up on
got no help with me then. I'm the most erratic, messy person ever. No, I'm not joking. But yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely, got to be careful.
What are so you started training, just talk me through briefly your competitive career. Like, let's assume everyone who's watching your channel, and we're filming for my channel, which has about 10 subscribers.
We're going to get that
at the moment.
We're going to get that up.
And your channel, like people who are subscribing to you, they know who you are.
Yeah.
But also people may have found this video who subscribe to you but don't have an understanding of all that you've achieved. Like, talk me through a bit of your competitive kind of highlights.
Right, okay. So just touching on, we're on about the sports side of it. So growing up, I used to play for nationals, like football. I used to swim for nationals.
I didn't realise you were so good at football. Because when I asked you, do you support a team, and are you mad on football, you said no.
No, yeah.
So I assumed you never played football.
Yeah, so I used to play for Sheffield Wednesday, as a junior.
Wow.
But the problem was, I met my dad for the first time when I was, not a problem, it was a nice thing, but in my early teens. And that's when he was into golf.
Yeah.
So I needed to find something to have in common with him.
Yeah.
So we started to play golf when football stopped in the summer. We started playing, and I got hooked into that. I got so competitive at that I actually.
This is something I didn't know about you.
Yeah,
what do you play off in golf?
I got down to 7.
Really?
Yeah.
You still play now?
No.
Okay.
No. But
I play around sometime.
Yeah, I play once a year. We do a Terry's Cup, so it's a family thing.
Okay.
We go to different courses abroad or whatever, and we do like a weekend of golf. But that's all I play.
Yeah.
So that I transitioned away from football from there. I always had that competitive edge. So I started training like when I was 14, and then when I got to 20, obviously I wasn't doing any sports. Training was my sport.
Yeah.
There was just no. I needed that competitive side.
Yeah, I needed.
And I was looking at these bodybuilders, and they were dieting down and getting shredded and stuff, and I was like, I could do that. Like, I could see the willpower and the determination they had, and I thought, I want to do this. So, and I knew, because of my self-confidence issues, I train in hoodies, always train in baggy stuff. So to step on a stage in front of all these people with my top off would have been the biggest fear factor for me. And I was like, right, I'm doing this. I'm going to do it just once, just to say I've done it, and I've got it. And I did it when I was 20, I think it was 19.
Yeah.
And never looked back. I won Mr. Great Britain, then I won Mr. World, but that was in...
Is that in your first sort of competitive run? You won Mr. Great Britain?
Mr. Great Britain was my first ever show. And then
That's starting strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Were you in men's physique then as well?
No, so this was a beauty pageant. So it was sports related, physique related, but it was modelling. So it was in suits, casual wear, fashion, everything.
Yeah.
But when I won that, it was in London, Pineapple Studios. We had to do all these events. Didn't realise, because I was still a plumber at the time, it then took me to the Worlds, which was Mr. International, which was in Indonesia against 42 countries. These are all like Calvin Klein models. Like, it was insane. I walked off. I even had the wrong sash on. A male sash is 2 down. A woman's one is across. I walked off. A woman's one. It was so embarrassing. I got riddled from the start. But 3 weeks.
It wasn't pink with sparkles on it.
No. But 3 weeks we had to battle it out in Indonesia. It was amazing. We had a week in Jakarta in the city doing all these different events. We had a week in Bandung in the rainforest. We had to fight each other. It was phenomenal. We had to sleep in the rainforest, and then a week in Bali on the beach, and we had to cook our own food. It was just brilliant. And I was very fortunate. I won in front of millions of people because it was live on TV. I won Mr. International and won Best Body Award, and off the back of that I got sponsored by by USN at the time. Big supplement companies, and it just went on from there.
That was the start of things.
And then I was fortunate. I did my first ever show, UK Nationals. I won that. Bodybuilding. That was men's physique. That was the first ever show in the UK. I managed to win that, and then
just for my own interest, because I don't have the understanding, and for some viewers, I guess, you've got good legs. Like, I can see your legs. They're big.
Right. Okay.
So I don't want to put any men's physique athletes down, because I don't know that is the reason. But like a casual observer would say, okay, well, you do men's physique if you're not wanting to get your legs out, right? But there's obviously a difference. Like, what's the choice of men's physique versus classical?
So when men's physique first came out, it was all about having that attainable beach body look. So you essentially step off the beach and go onto a stage. It's that what everyone aspires to look like. You know, like on Venice Beach or wherever like that, Bondi Beach. with the surfboard. So that's the concept how they started, and then it was all about the front covers. So I was doing a lot of like men's health, you know, like men's fitness, and again it's that attainable look, but beach body. So that's how it started, and then it did.
So that'd be the most aesthetic before classic came as well. That'd be the most aesthetic.
So legs weren't
taking
important.
it to extremes.
No, and then as the division went on, obviously bodybuilding started to take the piss out of men's physique for not wearing legs, for not doing legs, and people did realise they could get away with not training legs, and and unfortunately it opened it up for more people to compete, which again is financially better for the federations and stuff. So that's why everyone always says, what do you think they'll come shorter or anything? No, because they're cutting off a revenue scheme there. If you want to show your legs off, you go into
now you can do classic or you can do open.
So they'll always have men's physique, and it is the most popular class.
And they are the most. That is where you see the most aesthetic physiques.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Obviously, classic is phenomenal. Classic shape. I would love to do classic to get my legs out. Like I said, I train hard and stuff. But
would you consider competing once before you stop competing? In classic.
Yeah, definitely. Even if it. But the problem I've got is obviously I'm a pro now, so I wouldn't be able to do any other show other than a pro show, which is fine. But again, because of that competitive mindset, I don't want to go in as a number. I'd always want to win whatever I'm taking part in, otherwise there's no point in my head.
What weight do you compete at usually?
I wouldn't back down now, to be honest, but I could put a good 10-20 pounds of muscle on it easily. And
if you compete, when you compete this time, we'll talk about that, the run into the Olympia, what do you hope to step on stage at?
If I can do 200 plus, I'd be happy with that. Because I go on stage at like 190.
Because there's is it 202 or a 212?
No, 212, 212. But that's bodybuilding.
Okay.
So you've got open class 212, which is still bodybuilding.
And
then you've got classic, then you've got men's physique.
Okay.
So that's how it works. But for me, like I said, I was so close in men's physique, but I'm so far away from classic because it's me stepping up against Bumstead. Because that's who I'd want to beat. And obviously, let's be right. We're chalk and cheese, which is very different. It just towers over me. But never say never.
Cool. Okay. And what are your goals now? Like, what are you competing in next? Where did you know with your competing in competition career? What was your best kind of placing, and what are your goals in terms of either reaching that again or beating it?
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate. So when I set goals, you know, you're a goal setter as well. I go for a show, and then any show, once I've won that status, I always want to do a better show. Like, it can never be a lesser show in my head.
Because you've done the Olympia and the Arnold's, right?
Yeah, so I wanted to be the first guy to ever get the pro card from the UK, so I won that. I wanted to be the first guy to step on the Olympia stage from Europe, I got that. So I wanted to win a pro show, which is like a standard pro show. Then I wanted to win like a prestigious one, which is Pittsburgh Pro. That's Jim Mannion show, so it's prestigious. The next ones are the Arnold's, and then the next one is the Olympia, and that's it. So with the Arnold, I wanted to be the first guy to win it in America from the UK, so I won that. I wanted to win it in Europe, because no one's won it in Europe, so I won it in Europe, and then I wanted to win it first person in the UK to win it in the UK. So I've got all those titles now.
So you've won the Arnold's 3 times?
Yes, in 3 different countries.
Wow.
So if they bring it out, they do have the license in Australia and in South Africa, so if they bring them out, I will definitely go and do those shows, because it's something I've not achieved. I really struggle once I've won a show to then get that desire to do it again.
Exactly. I mean, it's nothing like your situation, but when I competed 20 years ago, I won the wait till you hear it first.
All right, okay.
I won the under 18s in what was then the NPA. There was only one natural federation there. It was called the NPA. And then I'm like 18. I've got the choice of continuing as a bodybuilder, or what ended up happening is I found kind of tequila women and partying and holidays and stopped. But it's like, where do you go from there? Because there was no WMBF then, there was no like international competing. You're only 18 years old and then you've won the British Championship. So you either take 3 years to just get your head down and do under 21s, or you think, well, that's basically the same thing in a different age group, and you lose the motivation.
Of course you do. No, that's the same for anybody. People always say it to me as well, like, how do you basically win something like the Arnold, and you have a massive high, and then you come back down and you're thinking, right, you need some, and that's what I was always worried about, and this is something we could touch on, which I've spoke to Amy about, is when will it be enough for me, or because I always need something to work towards, I always need a greater goal.
So what are your goals now in terms of like...
The Olympia is the only goal for me, really, with regards to my career and competing, because I've won every other title, but at the same time, I've lost my train of thought.
Who are your main like competitors, I guess, in the Olympia?
It doesn't, honestly, the men's physique is getting so popular now. The division the standard is just unbelievable, and every year there's a new phenomenon.
It could be anyone on the day.
Yeah, the top, at least the top 10 now, it's a battle. You could be second or you could be ninth, 10th.
It's so close.
So
and it's judgmental,
now.
Right?
Yeah, and it is, and it's all who turns up on the day, because you say unfortunately, but it's not, because I'll still go for them. But you've got Erin Banks, and you've got Andre Ferguson, you've got Raymond Edmonds, and Brandon Hendrickson. All the guys who have massive turtle bags. They're huge bags, and the big guys are very imposing. They're very tall, and so for me to go up against them, I would need to put some serious mass on.
Yeah.
But then you speak to judges and you speak to 90% of the people who are involved in men's physique, and they don't want that.
No.
It's just because that's what's the top 10 at the minute. So if I was to bring my A game and bring my back up slightly and leave no stone unturned, and they were to set that as the standard, then everything has to conform to that.
And you could effectively, I don't know what the right word is, but men's physique's crept up to a place where maybe it wasn't intended to be.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you came in and won the Olympia at 20 pounds under the average weight of everyone else, it would reset men's physique to where maybe
I do think they are, and they are trying to do that in subtle ways, because they have the head judge is Steve Weinberger, who's judged open class bodybuilding for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So he's automatically drawn to size. So every year it's gone that way. So when the guy wins, then they think, right, we've got to look like him but bigger.
Yeah.
And then the next guy. But they have said, look, there needs to be a cap, because it looks like classic bodybuilders in shorts, and they need to have that differentiation. So last year I saw a little transition where I think they're trying to do it subtly, where Diego Montenegro, he came third.
Yeah.
And he's really short, small framed, and to put him third, beating Raymond, beating all these big guys, was saying there is still room. Yeah, there's still room there, and I think that's where they're going to try and go with it, and I need to capitalise on that, I think.
Yeah, because from my basic perspective, not expert perspective, your strength to me is your aesthetic, and if you try to put weight on, you're always going to remove some of that, right?
So I've done that twice, 2 preps. I've tried to focus on size rather than condition.
Yeah.
Both times in my worst placings.
Yeah. So you know what works for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like, so in terms of your goals for this year, you've already competed at the Olympia once, right? Or no?
Bloody hell, he hasn't done his research, has he?
Well, I have, but I'm trying to come at
this. 7 times I've completed the Olympia.
I'm trying to come at this from I don't know who Ryan Terry is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So just
I
imagine I don't know anything about you, and I've not watched your Road to the Olympia YouTube series, and I've not followed you on social media. We'll try that again.
All right, we'll try that one again.
Yeah. Cut. So how many times have you competed in the Olympia, and what's been your best?
7 times.
Place?
I've competed in the Olympia 7 times, and we've placed 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
Wow. Is that in that?
No, not in that order.
Okay.
Not in that order. Did place 8th as well, but that was not good. 8th was my worst placing, but that was bad. I shouldn't have competed. But yeah.
And this year, when's the Olympia this year?
December. So we're about 21 weeks out.
And where is that?
Las Vegas. Always in Las Vegas.
Sounds like a triply. We should go to Las Vegas.
We're up for it. We're up for it.
I think I'm there anyway. I'm there anyway.
Awesome. Okay, that'll be part B.
Yeah, sounds good.
Interview with the winner.
Part C. So now I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, I'm prepping myself. I've been doing this. I've been training 20 odd years, and I've always had a coach with me. But I've always wanted to learn my body myself, and I've always been intrigued how my body changes every year, like my metabolism, just how it reacts to certain foods every year. I'm changing as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
And last year I decided, to be honest with you, I was actually retiring. I thought, finish on top, do the Arnold. I've won the Arnold in 4-year increments every 4 years, and I thought it'd be good to finish on home soil. And I wanted to prep myself, and just because I want to go into the coaching role, and I'm into the coaching role now, I wanted to prove to myself that it's me doing the work. I know what I'm doing and stuff, and I can change things if I need to. And it was the best prep I ever did. I was accountable to myself. My injuries seemed to just disappear. My mindset was locked in what I wanted to do. I never faulted in my head, whereas I'm quite a nervous competitor, so I'm always quite like, oh, hopefully we'll do well, and that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
Whereas this attitude was like, no one's taking that title from me, that's my title, and no one's having it. And it was just amazing. I thought, if I can replicate that on the Olympia stage, which I've never done before, even when I placed second, I never had that mindset that I had this year. So
but you're a rare person, right? I mean, it's not often that, I don't know whether you'd agree with me, but I don't recommend people to do anything without a mentor or a coach.
No,
I don't have a coach at the moment, right? Because I found that I was in a group coaching program for accountancy firms.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds really arrogant, but there was not an accountancy firm in there that we were gaining knowledge from. We were teaching everyone else.
Yeah.
And this was supposedly the 8 top accounting firms from all around Europe.
Yeah.
Who were hand selected by this coach, and they were all great.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of like you. Who would you go to if you were going to learn something from, because you've been doing it so long, and who's going to have a better understanding than you?
I think as well, with bodybuilding, like the coach can't know your body within 6 months or a year. You have to work with them for a long time to understand you, your mental aspect, everything. And I had a coach who was very relaxed, Ken Roscoe, food tech. We were together over 10 years, and he knew my body and I knew my body. So he'd leave me to it. He knew mentally where I needed to be, how I was. I had to have control of it. He was just there as a shoulder to cry on if I needed it, so to speak.
Just you got stuck.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd always come up to me, and he was the realest guy I ever had, and I would love to replicate that. He retired and he has nothing to do with it now, but he was someone who'd come on, grab my back fat and say, you've got work to do.
I watched that in your video.
Yeah, everyone else.
Olympia video that I did watch and do know that.
Whereas everybody else around me was all like, no, you look amazing, you look great. And I didn't need that. I needed that real. So when I lost that, I did go with a well-known coach, and he was completely the opposite to me. He didn't understand me, and he wanted to take control, which is fair enough as a coach. They do normally do that. But all the methods, he wasn't taking into account what I'd learnt over 20 years. He wanted to just change everything up. But these were the things what were winning me the Arnolds, winning the Olympia. I knew my body, and it was stuff what fitted into my lifestyle with my family, my kids, my workload. Whereas none of that was all thrown out the window. It was like, you do it this way, you take this, and it became monotonous and not enjoyable.
And you could stress you out, which is not going to help your physique anyway, is it?
But those 3 years or 2 years I worked with him, they're my worst placings and everything I did, and it shows that. And I was like, look, if I'm retiring, I need to know, go back to what I enjoy doing and stuff. And we're very different, again, because with a coach, with how methodical you are, and you thrive off that, it works brilliant in that situation. I am the opposite. I like to, how I feel, I wouldn't say reactive, but I am proactive, but I just like to get in on it and just do it as I go, kind of thing. I'm like,
would you recommend the average person that trains?
No. Definitely not.
No, okay.
Definitely not. It's just because I have so much going on, and I've just learned this method over the years, maybe just scrambled my way through, but it works for me. And when I try to be too structured with my food, my training, all that kind of stuff, I lose that enjoyment, and that's the main part.
And also, most people don't want that responsibility, like a day out from the show where you're manipulating carbs and how much do you put in and what do you look like. Most people can't look at themselves, honestly,
very true. That's
and
very true.
See, they have to. Like I know,
that's very true.
I was watching a series where recently this chap, he qualified for the Olympia. He won a 212 Olympia qualification spot. He brought in a coach who's a client of mine just for the last 2 weeks. Because he was like, I've prepped myself all the way through, but I just don't trust myself, and I want to do something slightly different. Because I think he'd hit second. And he's like, I need to do. And he ended up winning.
That honestly, I don't. And the thing is, if I had another Ken, invaluable to me, invaluable, because like you say, he even when he'd calm me down, because I know he would never say you look amazing, like even the day before and stuff, just get your confidence up, which most coaches do, like you look fine, you're on point. He wouldn't say that to me, but I'd know with him being quiet, or just don't worry lad, he'd just say that, don't worry lad, or, you'll be alright lad. To me that was enough to say, right, I'm on, I know where I'm at and stuff. If I could get that again, that'd be amazing, but I just haven't found that.
You need to have a good relationship with your coach, whether it's like you're competing or people that you work with in your business.
Definitely.
Everyone you're working with, right?
But the last Arnold I did it all myself, but Ken did step in, and he was there. I even rang him backstage just saying, this, we're going on in a minute. He's like, how are you feeling? It was just a chat, but in my head it was just what I needed.
Almost like a mentor. They're not necessarily telling you to do anything, they're allowing you to speak out loud.
Exactly.
So for people that are watching this, and they want to get on stage, Who was the shit out of fucked up Olympia?
Do you know?
I loved how I zoomed in on it, Ed.
Do you know what I thought was so good though, and it just shows what a credible individual you are. That person didn't do the right thing for you, and you didn't get the right placing. But you're not here saying it's this person and calling them out on it.
No, definitely not.
And that to me shows a massive amount of respect for you for doing that, because they probably tried their best.
Yeah.
Just their approach didn't work for you.
And that's very true. Like he works with Mr. Olympias. He's got credentials. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I was just a different breed completely because I was a men's physique.
Right.
I'm a special one. Because I was obviously men's physique, very different class. It just wasn't working, and we just couldn't. But it's nothing against him.
No.
It's just I know my body the way I wanted it.
Yeah,
to
it's
work,
working, right?
So
Just a slight transition. Talked about competition. Actually, before we go on to that, I wanted to have a quick look if I can, because every time we have a Zoom call, I see your office and I see all these cool things on the wall and your trophy. But before we quickly transition into business, can we have a quick look?
Let's go and have a look then. Let's do this.
For me, so exciting. I know we joked about me not knowing that you competed in the Olympia, but that was a lie.
Yeah.
I have been obsessed by bodybuilding for 20 years, and I know I went away from it in between.
Yeah.
But I used to literally read every magazine. You'd be in the magazines. It's quite, Dave. For me, it's quite funny because I started an accounting firm 11 years ago. Yeah. We only really went into health and fitness over the last 2 years.
Right. Okay.
Then the journey of that was
you transitioned back into
lying to get into the gym at 14, 15, knowing who you were probably at that age.
Yeah, definitely.
20 years later to having the business that now you're a client of.
Yeah.
And we have a special relationship where we're talking most days and through the week.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's correct. It's like a bit surreal in a way.
Yeah,
you know?
It is crazy. Because I think like this, for instance, it's a real shame because obviously we don't really have magazines anymore. Like before bodybuilding, before I stepped on stage, it was all about getting a front cover magazine. Like that was just the ultimate. Especially like growing up, seeing. I forgot his name. Rob Riches. Rob Riches. Bloody hell.
Rob Riches.
Well, how can we transition? How can we put
Blast from the past. You have to keep going, mate. All of our like mess up bits where we forget people's names and all that, we have to leave that in.
Oh shit! Okay.
We have to leave that
Rob
in.
Riches, I remember. You know. But so this spans over 15 years. That was my first ever one. That was in Indonesia. So we talked about
the modelling. Yeah.
So that's when I won. The day after, we'd been competing for 3.5 weeks. Had a big blowout, not been to sleep, and then we had to do the men's guide. So that was the front cover, and that was the starting point for me because when we started going into it, off the back of that, I got my first ever muscle and fitness magazine. Winning that and getting on the front of that was life changing for me because I then became a front cover model, so I was more valuable. Because back then that kind of mattered, to sponsors and stuff like that. So that was when I transitioned from a plumber to full-time like sports modelling and whatnot.
Because you got sponsorship contracts, right?
Yes. Yeah. This was my favourite. This is my favourite ever one, and this is funny because this came out the day that I won the Arnold Classic in Europe, and my coach was behind the judges, and the head judge actually picked this up because it was the first ever men's physique Arnold show. Yeah. So the judges had to be told what to look for. Yeah. And they pulled this magazine up in front of all the judges and said, "This is not what we're looking for." He said it's too hard and too ripped. We need it to be soft and attainable. So my coach is messaging me saying, "Do not tense, do not." They've just pulled your. But they didn't know I was backstage. Wow. So I won it. Yeah. I went and grabbed the magazine because someone had it, and I held it up having a picture, and all the judges were just gobsmacked, absolute gobsmacked. So there's.
And you can see how your physique has transitioned, like from I don't know whether it's posing or the physique, but from here to here, it's posing. You can see the lat width and the shoulders.
Well, obviously I've got bigger as we've gone on, but for instance, like certain things we were told not to tense. So let me just.
So you stand sort of normal without flaring your lats.
Yeah, like the men's health and stuff. I got given 3 days notice on that. We was in South Africa. This was a South African one, and I literally ran up a mountain for 3 days every morning. Yeah. I was on this is really bad, tuna and sunflower oil just for meals, because I wasn't ready and I needed to be ready in 3 days. So it was really drastic, and I got there and they was like, right, we need to cover your abs up because they're too hard for men's health. And that was the only thing we could do. I had to like cramp over, but then this was the day after the Arnold in America, pumping up like mad, trying to get as full as possible because that's what they want for that magazine. So it's just
things change over the time,
all just dependent on them. These was in Venice Beach in America. That was blistering hot heat. We did about 10 hours shooting, and I was absolutely wiped out 2 days after the Olympia. But you just, you do these things. But all of them have got a story behind them.
It's super cool how you've done it, because I know that your office is new and it's your area. You were able to paint this without your wife.
The rest of the house is all neutral. So went very erratic in here.
So, Ryan, as you know at GrowFactor, for those of you who don't know, we work within the health and fitness industry, and what we're trying to do is help people. It's almost like a triangle: master their finances, so understand their numbers, have a clear strategic growth plan, and minimise their taxes. Which what that does is just mean you've got more cash to reinvest in things. And we're not going to talk any specifics, because I never talk about specific tax planning on clients, because it's obviously confidential, and all we do is really make sure that you're taking advantage of all the deductions that are there for you.
Of course.
So I think up to this point, with us working with you for nearly a year, we've saved you a significant amount of tax without going into how we did it. I think that we've got your finances in order. We moved you over to an online accounting system instead of kind of shoebox receipts and things like that. I'll let you speak about how it was. And we haven't done it yet. We were going to do it today, but we'll get to it soon. We have talked about what your goals are. We're going to fill out a strategic business plan. And then every month catch up on how you're progressing, because I know one of your objectives was you've got all these opportunities and lots of shiny objects, but how do you focus on just having a clear plan when you don't have a ton of time?
And I think as well, just quickly, that's where I've gone wrong in the past, because I've diluted my energy so much, because I'm a yes man. I wanted to do everything okay, and I've done it. Well, I wanted to do everything great, and I've done it okay. I've got through. Whereas with you're very
regimented.
Everything has to be in place.
From your perspective, I don't want to put words into your mouth. Like, how has the experience been from what it was like before to working with us? Like, where have we helped you?
You've been absolutely, I'm not even going to say this, you've been absolutely phenomenal, because I've came from very old school accounting, like we just talked about, so it was all papered. All my filing cabinets was full of paper. It's just a mess, and it was just scrambling through, and I never really understood it, because the accountants I've used before never explained anything, whereas you guys have been very transparent and actually want me to learn alongside you, so I understand it.
It's like a partnership, right?
Because that's something I've never understood, so I've just used to send all my receipts off, send all my books off, and it all just be done, and I pay this big whacking great bill.
And you find out like a few weeks before the tax was due what your tax bill was.
But even working with you within the first month, everything you could see just off the first bat, you could see everything. How much you've saved me, how much more structured we are, which is brilliant. Obviously it took quite a lot of time to get out of the mess we was in before, but now we've got everything. We've got a plan, haven't we? We've got the financial plan.
And you've got Anish day to day giving you support on WhatsApp and Zoom calls whenever you need it. And now I think you can just snap a picture of your receipt and like magic, your bookkeepers do all the bookkeeping, and it just goes into your accounts.
Emails sent straight on, any receipts come through, emails sent straight on, everything's done for me. I understand who I'm paying now as well, because I was paying these bills out. Well, where's that going? What's that doing? But I just kind of gave up with it and just thought, well, it gets done, I'm okay. Whereas now
you feel more in control. Like, how has that helped you though? Yes, we're doing all of those things, but other accountants can, I guess. How has that helped you in terms of either how it's made you feel or any impact that it's had on your business?
Well, no, it was a massive impact, because obviously the business is all running more smoothly now. Each one of them has a direction. We know where we're going. We have like a point to work towards. Even in my social life as well, because if you ask my wife, I used to worry about all the time, but I'm just paying these bills, but I don't even know what I'm paying.
So you're worried about your cash flow, what's coming in, what's going out, is it going in the right direction?
Exactly. Especially now Alfie, my son's around, I want everything to be in place. I don't want to be thinking I'm doing something wrong and then in 10 years time someone's going to bite me in the ass or anything like that. And also we've just been talking about pensions, something I've never understood about and I've shied away from. Still kind of shied away, but
I'll still keep working on
I'm starting to understand that a lot more now.
It's like put 60 quid in and it turns into £100, so we'll eventually we'll get through like magic.
That's it, I'm in.
Courtesy of the tax man.
Exactly. But there's things where you're saying about you can help I've done it in a way where we can put stuff through, but you were saying we can save it, putting money to different accounts, all this kind of stuff, which is something I never understood.
Just a bigger picture, we're talking tax about maximising your deductions, which are the things that weren't going through your business that you are allowed to claim because you're a professional athlete.
Exactly.
And you didn't have a tax plan in place, which is maybe having a holding company, having a structure, just thinking about what your long-term goals are, and then setting things up with almost more of a bird's eye view rather than just day to day.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. So
awesome. Okay.
You've still got a job for the rest of the year.
Thanks very much. Nice.